Welcome to Two Balding Nerds. My name is Kellen.
And my name is George, and today we're here to discuss for our first video the trailer for the Lightyear film, a film I didn't even know was going to be made.
What rock did you crawl out from under, George?
I don't pay attention to what's on the internet. I just like to see what pops up on my YouTube feed, whatever you call it.
And then I'm the complete opposite, and I'm all over the web, movie web especially, looking for articles. All right, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is actually in the first shot of the trailer. I
Mhm.
noticed the spherical ship in the background reminded me a lot of the ships in Star Wars. They're called the core ship, belonging to the CIS. I thought that was an interesting touch. I wonder if it's intended by the people doing the movie or if it was just kind of one of those things where it was unintentional.
I would guess unintentional, just because I would assume like spherical or let's face it, there's spherical ships, cubist ships, long ships. Nowadays, it's kind of hard to make a shape of a ship that doesn't at least connect to some form of former spaceship. Like if it was more saucer-like, people would be like, oh, it looks like the Star Trek saucer, like something like that. It does though seem a little odd compared to from what I remember. Did you ever see the Buzz Lightyear TV show that they had on the Disney Channel?
If I did end up watching it as a child, uh, being that it was so long ago, I don't recall exactly what you might be referencing to.
Oh, I was going to reference to in that show there was the space station Star Command that Buzz always called in the Toy Story show when he was trying to when he still thought he was a spaceman. Star Command was like a very saucer-esque looking space station. So I was a little surprised when I saw all that there wasn't something that resembled that a little bit more.
It's funny though, like I'll in the video here, I'll put the two images one after the other, and you can kind of decide for yourself. But I think that it's too uncanny to say that it maybe isn't just an Easter egg.
Mhm. So I have to say, with overall, I like I said, with yeah, I see where your connection is to that. I do have to just say, while talking about that, the animation itself, I was really impressed by it. Actually, it was not what I was expecting, but like I had like this childhood like feeling, be like, wow, that's kind of like what Buzz Lightyear looks like as not a cartoon or like the original animation we're used to with the Toy Story franchise. In particular, just his purple I guess like the jumpsuit you call it, or the purple thing that goes around his head, because that looks so much like the original Buzz Lightyear. Seeing him in that just gave me this little like, oh, it's Buzz. This is cool. Like moment when seeing that.
Yeah, there was something I noticed too about that trailer, and it's amazing. I mean, you and I are both 30. I mean, I'll be 30 in January, but we're both, for lack of argument, we're both in our 30s. So we grew up with the golden age of Disney,
Mhm.
with Little Mermaid and Pocahontas and other movies like that. And I
Yeah,
think we're starting to see a bit of a resurgence. I think we're in another, I don't even know what you would call this age, but like Frozen and um, several other Disney movies that have come out lately, uh,
Mhm.
had the animation is getting noticeably better and better and better with each film. Um, the one thing that I was a little bit, I don't even know if you'd call this a nitpick, but the one scene where it shows his hand, like even the animation of hands is getting better. You know, like how in some movies the hands they just look like obvious that it's animation and it kind of takes you out of it for a second.
Yeah, and I can even say from the few people I know who are exceptionally good artists, hands are not easy. There's always like at least just even drawing hands is hard as hell without them looking ridiculously weird. So I'm not sure how much harder it must be to actually like with all the different moving parts and the animation and everything of how tricky it is to do stuff like that. And there, like you said, it looks amazing nowadays.
Yeah, so like my one nitpick on that was I wrote down here, um, the only nitpick I have is that it almost looks a little too perfect, like doll-like almost.
Mhm.
Um, the one thing I wrote as kind of like a suggestion, let's say, was that I wouldn't have minded seeing something like knuckle hair or on Buzz's face having some stubble. or something like that, a little bit more texture to the animation. It just gives it that more the more depth, and it just makes it feel more real overall.
I guess. I'm good if not every man has to be hairy knuckled like myself. But I guess that is fair to kind of make that point. With that being said, that just wanted to also say, thinking about it, the fact Buzz Lightyear even has hair on his head threw me for a loop. I always imagined him as bald.
I know, right? Because he always wears that space hood
Purple head.
over top. You just assume
Yeah.
that the man is bald. I can't remember from watching the trailer, but did he have a cleft chin in the trailer as well?
Actually, no, I don't recall that either. That wasn't something that I was noticing in the trailer. Because in the original cartoon, he had like a little swirl or something on his chin, if I recall.
Yeah, and I always just assumed that the swirl indicated that he was supposed to have a cleft chin.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That would make sense. But yeah, no, it wasn't something that stood out in the trailer. And it's funny with how many times we see his face. I think I've seen at least the trailer like three, four times by now. That should have been something I should have realized. You know, watching the big screen.
I know, probably in the last, I want to say, how long has the trailer been out? Has it been 2 weeks yet? I don't think it's been quite 2 weeks, but I think in that time, I probably watched that trailer and getting prepared to do this with you. I don't know how many times, at least 10 times, maybe 15. I still don't remember that detail.
Actually, just moving on in the trailer. So, one of the things I wanted to know if you got this vibe too. So, when he's going around the sun, um, you are not a big Star Trek fan, so you never saw the fourth movie, Star Trek: The Voyage Home, the one with the whales, right?
Of course not, no. Um,
Okay. So, quick
although,
little.
when he was going around the sun, I think there's some other sci-fi property that covered something similar to that and had to do with time travel, if I remember correctly.
So, quick little rundown for anyone who doesn't know the fourth Star Trek movie. First of all, it's the fourth one. It's called The Voyage Home. It's actually really good. I'd recommend watching it, even if you're not a big sci-fi fan. It's just a really good Star Trek movie. But they have to go back in time to bring back a whale. No, I know it sounds weird, but it is what it is. And they do it by going warp speed around the sun in the opposite direction with a Klingon ship. So I'm going like just the way Buzz was flying around that immediately gave me the thought of that scene from that Star Trek movie. And I go, it would not surprise me if that there's some form of time travel involved, especially because like his first spacesuit looks more like something that we have. And then he goes on to getting like the new spacesuit that we know him in, and that one's more futuristic. So
It's
that's kind of
funny you bring up the whole time travel thing because there's actually a point in the trailer, and I'm sure a lot of people saw it because it wasn't exactly a hidden detail, but there is a point where Buzz and his, I want to say co-pilot, the female lead, so to speak, it
okay.
looks like they're
Yeah.
sitting in what looks like a hangar in front of a whiteboard with that yellow droid or robot, and
Mhm.
on the whiteboard you can clearly see that it says 1 minute equals 1 year. So I think in this movie there is going to be some aspect of time travel. I don't
Mhm.
know how much of the movie or the plot that's going to take up, but I think that's going to be something that we'll see.
Yeah, that would I would I'm like all in all honesty, after they did the sun thing and the way he was flying around it, I go, I would it just I can't get out of my head how similar that seemed to Star Trek. And with what you just said there, I'm like 100% behind that thought that they're gonna do some type of space time travel thing because like once again, it really kind of makes me scratch my head going like based off of the spacesuit that we know Buzz to be in with the buttons and the wings and all that jazz. And the one we see him at the beginning of the film in, or the trailer in, I go like, they look like two totally polar opposite styles of costume, and it wouldn't make sense that he would use that one in my mind compared to the one that we all know and love him.
Of course, yeah, definitely. Um, it's funny. We started out this trailer review talking about a Star Wars reference or a potential Star Wars reference, and
In.
I noticed like several times in the trailer, and I mean, I think I'm just hardwired to find references or things that remind me of Star Wars and other properties, but there's a couple other things in here that I wanted to point on. There was one still image of it looked like Buzz's ship on a kind of a forested background. It was foggy, and instantly in my brain I thought, this reminds me of Luke landing his X-wing on Dagobah
Uh,
with all the trees in the background. I've got a pretty cool image. It's actually done by an artist on DeviantArt. His name is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but I'll spell it out. It's ASTE 17. And he has an image drawn up of Luke's X-Wing, kind of in the same sort of position that Buzz's ship, I don't even know what to call it, uh, is in the trailer. So I'll put both of those in the video here for people to see.
I like how in today's world that us saying, the spaceship, I don't know what to call it because we know someone's going to give it a name. That it can't just be a freaking spaceship nowadays, right?
Exactly. I mean, everything's got to have a name. It's got to have a title. I mean, I'm sure when we watch the movie, his ship will have some sort of like designation, either like a number or like a model type or something like that. Um, but later on in the trailer, there's also another point where it looks like he's being dragged away by a tentacle.
hmm
And I don't know if Disney's starting to get into the tentacle stuff, or if this is meant to be a direct sort of like, hey guys, remember that thing in that other property that we own? Yeah, so here it is. It just reminds me of Boba Fett. Not so much Boba Fett, but like people being dragged into the Sarlacc pit.
I thought you were making the reference to Rogue One with that thing that uh
Oh, that
like
the
that
like
guy's
the
head.
weird mind rapey tentacle thing.
Yeah, that thing, that creepy thing.
Yeah.
That yeah, Sogarera used sicked on the Imperial or former Imperial.
No, it totally reminded me of the Sarlacc dragging people in because at one point, like its tentacle or arm, whatever you want to call it, gets
Mhm.
chopped off, and it
Oh
just
yeah.
totally reminded me of that scene in Return of the Jedi.
Okay. Yeah. I find it funny that that thing didn't bother me as much as the freaking weird cat that kept on showing up in the damn trailer. The beep boop beep boop beep boop. Like you see it first walking up, then you see it plugged into the computer, then you see it again when Buzz gets spooked and like tosses it. Like, okay, seriously, what is this freaking robot cat? I like that's not something that was ever connected to Buzz was cats. So I'm like,
It's funny you
why?
bring that up, and unfortunately, I have to connect it to Star Wars again. There's a part in the trailer when its head is actually spinning and it's going beep boop beep boop beep boop. If you look
Yeah,
at its tail is actually plugged into what looks
yeah,
like a computer in a ship.
just
I
like
feel
R2D2.
exactly. I feel like the cat is going to be kind of a stand-in for R2D2, and I feel like the cat is going to end up going on his journey with him and is going to end up not only getting itself into trouble, but also bailing him out of trouble in tight spots because of the things that it can do.
Yeah, it'll be like the Olaf character of the show that just is like this quirky little funny thing that keeps on popping up, and hopefully it's silent like an R2D2 character where it doesn't talk or something. It just has its own actions that are more fun.
I mean,
With
I don't know. I kind of like, if there's anything that's redeeming about droids in Star Wars, is that they are there for comedic relief. So I imagine the cat will probably serve the same purpose.
So there's a
Um,
lot more than just redeeming about the droids in Star Wars. R2D2 and 3PO are classics.
yeah, but I mean, 3PO is just there to get bullied by everybody.
Yeah, and he serves his purpose, and he's a character that's beloved, not as beloved as others, but still beloved.
He serves
Um,
his purpose well.
yes, he does. Also, actually, with that being said, there was a scene with that cat again when Buzz does drop the cat. Did you notice that when Buzz drops the cat, he takes a karate position?
I did notice that, but I didn't really pay any mind to it. I kind of was just like, well, he's startled. You know, people do weird things when they're startled, right?
Well, that one actually I really like because remember Buzz in the original films, if he
Oh,
pushed
right.
back,
He
he
has a
did the karate
karate
action.
action.
So I was like,
Oh, I didn't even
oh,
think of that.
I was so happy that they like I'm going like I a few times because I thought it was similar like you said just kind of like a startled thing, but then I noticed it's kind of like I think it's like called knife hands or something like that, the way he had his one hand out and his other hand at his chest. When I did martial arts as a kid, we did something that was a similar stance. So as soon as he did that, I was like, oh, he did a karate pose, or if anything, it looked close to a karate pose, which I think is a reference to his karate action in the originals.
That's a good pickup. I totally didn't even think about that until you mentioned it, and then it was kind of like a light bulb going off in my brain.
Hmm.
Um, so
That was the last time I viewed it. I saw that. I went, wait a minute.
yeah, that's a good pickup. One thing I noticed, and again, it's just my brain linking things together. It's almost like another reference. Um, the opening, or not the opening scene, the scene toward the end of the trailer when he's, I guess, going to get his suit that we all recognize. I
Hmm.
guess for the first time is what they're depicting in the trailer.
Hmm.
Um, it kind of reminded me of Batman vs Superman when Ben Affleck's Batman is going, uh, I guess, to suit up or whatever like that, and he walks up to his suit that's kind of like in that tubular protective case or whatever like that, and he's just like he's looking at it. It kind of reminded me of that.
Reminded me more of when Iron Man went and got his suit when it was the first Avengers movie.
What? I don't remember that.
Because in the first Avengers movies, when it's on the helicarrier, when I think when they get attacked by Hawkeye, he goes and gets his suit and he hits a button and it opens up into a similar kind of
Oh,
case.
yeah, I think I remember now.
That was
Yeah,
the first thing that popped into my head.
okay. See, it's funny how like our individual memories or whatever, how we link things differently. Like it reminded me of Batman, it reminded you of Iron Man somehow.
Yeah. Just before that scene, there was a scene where he's walking and there's a bunch of robots all lined up. Do you think those are robots that are like Zurg's robots? And you
Yeah,
think,
I did notice that. I don't know enough about the Lightyear lore and that kind of stuff to really have a good idea of what it was, but that was kind of my first impression was that he's probably on an enemy ship.
I'm hoping that like when he goes in time, he somehow runs in, and I hope of all the characters that could possibly pop up if they connect it to the TV show or whatever, Zurg would be the one that I would say would make the most sense for a good villain. I'm just wondering because you remember in Toy Story 2 where the other Buzz and Zurg are fighting on the elevator and they make the Star Wars reference?
Yeah, isn't it when he's like hanging off and it's the whole "No, I'm your father" kind of bit?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you killed my father. No, Buzz, I am your father.
which
And
is
then he goes,
funny you say that because the shirt I'm wearing right now literally has Darth Vader on it. It says "No, I'm your father."
yeah. But yeah, other than that, I actually think the only part of that whole trailer I didn't like was them doing that freaking like tease at the end, being like to infinity, and it's like, oh come on, just say the line.
Well, of
Like,
course they got to do that, right? They got to give you something to like leave you on a cliffhanger with, right? So, like, so that they get your butt in a seat, basically.
oh, my butt was already in the seat to begin with. I didn't need like they could have just said the damn line because I'm going like now I'm gonna be staying here the whole
Insert the
time.
image of Fry yelling, "Just take my money already!"
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
You had me
And
at hello.
yeah,
With that being said, though, if you had to like give it a rating, I don't know. Do you want to go out of 10, or do you just want to say how either excited? I mean, clearly you're excited
oh
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
for the movie. How like explain?
Well, for me, I would say like because as I said like at the very beginning, I this came out of complete left field for me. I was not thinking about, know what, I need to see a or not live action. I need to see an animated movie of Buzz Lightyear. That just was not on my mind at all. So I didn't have any expectation. I didn't have anything going into it. So now seeing what they've already kind of put forward as the tease, I think the tease served a perfect job of getting me going like, oh, I'm interested. I'm willing to spend my money to go see this. So I'd say as a rating, I'd give it like I think I'd give the trailer a full 10 out of 10. Not because it was like the best trailer I've ever seen, but because it 100% accomplished its job to a T, where it made me feel warm and happy thinking of something nostalgic like Buzz Lightyear, put a new thought into my head of a movie that I could get behind. It also how was best to say it? It get left enough for me to go, well, what the fuck's going on? I really want to see what's going on.
Yeah, and you and I spoke about that. I think about a week ago. How um, the few trailers that we're going to be reviewing, the big thing for you especially was that they got you hyped without giving away too much, um,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of lacking with trailers nowadays. A lot of times with trailers, you know what to expect going into the movie, and then you're let down when your headcanon isn't fulfilled. So,
Hmm.
for me personally, I didn't watch the Buzz Lightyear cartoon when I was younger, um, but I did enjoy the Toy Story movies. And this was when I first heard about the article a while ago saying that Chris Evans was rumored to voice Buzz. I kind of had a little bit of a reaction, like I guess most people our age would. We went, wait, Chris Evans is going to voice Buzz? What about Tim Allen? You
Yeah, he's
know,
so I.
everybody loves Tim Allen. I mean, Tim Allen's had his problems. We're not going to get into that, but for me, it's like, oh, Buzz's voice is Tim Allen, so it's
Oh,
like it's going to be a little bit jarring getting used to Chris Evans, but I think he's a good enough actor, of course, that he'll be able to pull it off. Uh, I have confidence in that. For me, with this trailer coming out, I wasn't really, I didn't have high expectations or anything like that. But after seeing the quality of the animation in this trailer, I'm like, wow, I actually want to go see this movie. And it's not like I'll watch this movie, but I'll wait for it on Netflix. It's like, no, I want to go see it in the movie theater while it's still relevant so I can talk about it.
yeah, absolutely. I agree. And which I go, Disney must be going like, yes, perfect. We hit the target audience right on the nose.
Well,
But
with that being said, I think this is where we'll wrap it up. Clearly, we're
mhm,
both excited to go watch this movie in theaters when it comes out. I
mhm.
believe it said summer of 2022.
Yes, if I recall. So two. All right, no,
Well,
didn't it say January?
no, it said summer of 2022. So mark it
Jan.
down on your calendars, folks. Hopefully, it doesn't get pushed back like a lot of the films that we've been desperately wanting to see have been having had lately due to COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see you there. And till next time, have a good day. Remember to like and subscribe our videos if you found this entertaining in any sort of way. And we will see you next time.
Yep. And next time, to infinity and beyond.
Of course. We won't leave you on a cliffhanger here.